What's up, Pombo? Welcome, welcome. So this is my cameraman Telestro's second channel, Telestro Flips. He has two channels. He has Telestro and Telestro Flips. I am going to actually link this in chat. I very much so encourage everyone. That's very much so encourage everyone to go watch this. And also give us a subscribe to my buddy over on YouTube. So let's start. I'm gonna mute Lo-Fi Girl. Sorry, Lo-Fi Girl. So, how do I want to structure this? I'm gonna start off with a disclaimer. I do own a clone. I have a Nautilus clone that I purchased on Amazon before I knew anything about clones. This was my third Balisong purchase, and I bought it really just because it was funny. I thought it was funny that there was a comb that looked like a Nautilus. I hate it. I hate that I bought it. I hate that I own it. But unfortunately, I do. Fortunately, I purchased it before I really knew what was bad about clones or really understood them. Where did I learn how to flip? Big Flips. Big Flips on YouTube. Okay, let's get right into this.
Today, again, flipping the arc is people who don't necessarily have the money to buy full-blown products. Sorry. I'm going to use the Nautilus as an example because the Nautilus clone is very, very popular right now, and I've considered buying one, but I'm not going to do that, and I will tell you why. But first, let's talk. You don't have the money, right?
So right off the bat, he makes a good point. First of all, no one should judge anyone else about, you know what, I'm going to turn back on the lo-fi. No one should judge. Ty's a bit quiet? Okay. I'll try and fix that. No one should judge anyone else based on what they buy, obviously. The Balisong community, I feel like, is rampant in gatekeeping, is rampant in everything to do with, you like that knife, that's a bad opinion, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to preface by saying no one should ever harass or bully someone because they bought a clone. Having said that, it is also important to understand why clones are bad. So right off the bat, Ty says clones are good if you don't have money. And totally agree. But I also feel like we're at the point in the Balisong community where where there are good alternatives in the cheaper price range. So a Nautilus clone, I don't know off the top of my head, but you're going to be spending about 50 bucks. You can also, for 50 bucks, you can get a Squiddy, you can get a Falcon, you can get an Alien. You can get, I wouldn't recommend the Amazon Balisongs. Where could I get one? I need some good clones, but don't know where to trust the site. I'm not giving anyone any advice on buying clones. I know nothing about buying clones, and I wouldn't be a good source of information for that. Where'd you get that sweet comb blade? Amazon. I don't recommend you buy it because it sucks, and I wish I never bought it, but buy the Kraken clone right now after the Squid Cracker. I can review from Will Hirsch because I don't know shit about clones. And there, let me also say, there's no reason to be embarrassed if you own a clone. Like I said, that's not good. Like I said, no one should be harassing anyone else just because they bought a clone. I just think it is important to understand why clones are bad. So let's move on to his next point. I think is around here sometime.
Gatekeeping and telling people they're not real flippers because they own clones instead of actual knives is just dumb. It's completely pointless. You're hurting the community, so please just stop. Let people...
Okay, he's just talking about gatekeeping. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm not going to tell you you're a bad person for buying clones. That doesn't make any sense. That's dumb.
And yeah, you are also not a bad person for buying clones. Totally agree with that one.
I think what it comes down to, and the reason I won't buy any clones, is because if I'm invested in this hobby, the only reason I'm invested in this hobby is because there are manufacturers and designers putting in the work to give me good products so that I can get invested. If none of these people like Squid Industries, like NRB, like BRS, put in the time to make good products and think of good ideas, then Balisong flipping would barely even exist. It wouldn't be nearly the hobby it is today. And
so now basically he's saying all these companies are putting in all this work to making the hobby better. And sort of, I think the point he's trying to get at...
collection, almost all of them, I'm willing to bet, wouldn't exist if the only knives that were made were super cheap, just bad products, or ridiculously expensive custom.
Okay, so I think I'm kind of trying to grasp what he's saying on the fly here, because I did watch this video earlier, but I'm not really remembering everything that he said. I think what he's trying to say here is basically just these companies, if you buy clones, or these companies are putting in so much time and effort into making our hobby better. So it is in your best interest to support them in that endeavor instead of giving money to clone companies that just blatantly steal clones. Because my firm belief on clones, you can say whatever you want about them, but it is a fact that they are stealing. Cloning a Balisong is intellectual property theft. You're stealing designs from other people. It's stealing. I think a lot of people can agree on that. You just have to decide if you are morally okay with supporting that. I'm going to buy Falcon by the one because I'm from Argentina. And if I buy a Balisong, for example, a Squid EB, I end up double. Yeah, Squid's international shipping rates are really bad. And I wish they weren't, because a lot more foreign people would buy them, I think, if they didn't have such high shipping prices.
Shop knives. We wouldn't have nearly the knives we have, the type, the amount, the everything of knives we have today if there wasn't people willing to put in that kind of work. So if you are majorly in this hobby, you should want to support those who let you experience this hobby in the first place.
Yeah. So support your Squid Industries, your original Balisong maker creators. Totally agree. If you buy clones, you're not supporting the original creator of that design. More clone companies need to make original designs, especially Balaplus and Arm Shark. Their clones are great, but they need to make more. Yeah. I think the one is a great example because they have two, I think, semi-original designs, at least, in the Alien and the Falcon, that are cheap and they're okay. Like, people like them. The one also, yeah, they do have original designs, and I think that's great. If we can see clone companies start to focus on new original designs for people in the cheaper price brackets, that would be great. Because then you would have a legitimate Balisong that people could review and not feel poorly about buying because they don't want to support the stealing clone machine. But if it's an original design, that kind of goes away.
So I'm not a big guy for like, the market cap, they're gonna lose their, or whatever the heck, they're gonna lose their profits and everything.
So this is the one place where I'm gonna disagree with Ty. Actually, no. I think this is the one of two places that I'm gonna disagree with Ty. I don't think the argument against clones hinges solely on the bottom line of Balisong creators. But I do think that affecting the bottom line of Balisong manufacturers, especially smaller ones like NRB, Machine Wise, all of those, is an important thing to get out in the clone debate. I think the most important, as I said earlier, I think the most important kind of point to make is that it's stealing. Cloning a Balisong is stealing that design, that intellectual property. But another big factor of it is the bottom line. Because if you buy a clone, let's take the JK Designs Orca, an $1,100 Balisong. Actually, that's probably a bit too extreme of an example. Let's just take Squid Industries, the Nautilus. If I spend $30 on something that looks like a Nautilus, then I'm spending that $30 and putting it into a company that isn't making original designs and isn't spending the time to make the hobby better. Whereas if I don't buy this, I save up and I buy something from Squid, then that money goes directly into Squid making new designs, upgrading their previous designs, iterating, lowering prices, all that stuff. So I totally believe that hurting the bottom lines of Balisong manufacturers is a huge thing to bring up in the clone debate. Because Squid might not be a great example, but Squid compared to these clone companies is still tiny. They're still minuscule. They work out of a garage in California. They're not a factory. They're a smaller operation. But this rings especially true, and Ty's going to talk about this in a future point. Rings especially true for smaller one-man operations, NRB, Machine Wise, like I said earlier, who are releasing products, and if they get cloned, they're losing their livelihood because they don't have hundreds upon hundreds of products to sell like Squid does. They only have their small, little select few. Or JK Designs, his Orca recently got cloned. The more clones they sell, the less Orcas he sells, and then he's out of money and he can't continue on to make new designs. So saying that you don't care about hurting the Balisong, oh god, saying that you don't care about hurting Balisong manufacturers' bottom lines, I don't think is a great argument. Hold on, guys. There we go. And I gotta just restart the chat. There we go. I don't have any mods in here, so I gotta deal with that myself. Okay. The Falcon we could call a clone because this is the one stole some detail from Max Ace from an EDC Balisong. You're fine, Farbos. That's okay. What's up, Sweaty? Welcome. I don't think the Falcon is a clone though, because it does still have some original beats to it. Take the Log Designs trainer that's releasing soon, supposedly. People are calling that, oh my gosh, it's an Orca clone, it's an Orca trainer clone, all this. It's not though. It has its own original design. So if something looks similar, I don't really think that's considered a clone. That's why I've only gotten Benchmade clones in the originals, and we are going to talk about like that side of things. I think Ty brings it up later in the video. Well, no, I'm not saying no. The Orca clone. So this here, I'll show you. A Balisong can look similar because something about the Balisong community, I don't know what it is, but they'll see like a similar blade design, like, or blade profile, and they'll be like, that's a clone, that's a clone. This is a great example. People see this, and you'll probably see it in here. Blade design looks oddly familiar. Like, people call it an Orca clone. It's not. You can see it's got a it's just a Bowie trainer. It's got a big hole right here and a little line right there. If we look up the Orca trainer, Balisong, the Orca trainer has one line up here and then a big kind of rounded area with a little bite handle marker. They really don't look the same. It's not a clone, they just look similar. Finally, someone's talking about the similar equals clone thing. It is stupid. I really do think that. I'll we'll put that in the clips, I guess. This is a clone because you can see it's got the same handle, it's got the same blade cutout right here and the same hole. That's a clone. This is not a clone. This is just a similar blade profile. So I think people have to kind of make that distinction. Yeah, imagine if every knife company had to make completely different knife blades for every knife ever. Oh, so Squid Industries just owns the Bowie profile. No, that's not how it works. Obviously, there's going to be some similarities. That doesn't mean it's a clone. A clone is a 1-to-1 or close to 1-to-1. Is this. This is obviously a Nautilus, but it's a comb at the end of it. It's still a clone because these handles are still 1-to-1. So we're looking for 1-to-1 similarities to call it a clone. Anyway, that was an aside that we didn't really need to go on, but still.
Like the casual Balisong and stuff like that, I don't really care for that. It's
check Discord general. I will after this.
I am in this hobby because of those people. They allow me to do
yeah,
a lot of the pinless stuff is where I sit on this.
Okay, here's his next point.
Things that are very, very unique. I'm talking like pushing the boundaries of Balisong manufacturing. Like a lot of the pinless stuff is where I sit on this, pinless designs and such, and using different materials and different things, different crafting techniques.
So here he's basically saying that he believes that cloning, how do I put this? He's saying that cloning things that are super unique is really bad. I totally agree, but I want to... This is one thing, because I commented. I left a comment, and he did clarify. He said, with this point, he more meant to emphasize not to support clones of smaller manufacturers. Not to say they're the only ones to care about, Squid having multiple versions, blah, blah, blah. I didn't mean to discredit that at all. So my original thought when watching this video was, dude, I said I'll check it in a minute. Hold on. This is gonna be like a video, so hold on. I lost my train of thought. Right, so when I first watched this video, I was like, okay, yes, it is bad to clone. The way that he kind of worded it made me think, okay, yeah, it is bad to clone the smaller creators, like the Orca, the pinsless Orca, whatever. Super unique Balisongs like that. But it is also worth mentioning Squid, huge Balisong company. Not huge compared to other, you know what I mean. In the world of Balisongs, they're one of the top dogs. Squid puts so much time and effort and money and capital into making new designs to push the Balisong community. What's up, Hydro? How many Balisongs to go across the USA? I have no idea what you're asking. But Squid is still putting a ton of time in there, so it shouldn't exactly be like, oh, if you're cloning a Squid product, it's fine because they're a big company. But if you're cloning someone like JK Designs Orca, that's bad because it's like a unique one-off thing. That's the one part I disagreed with him on, is that cloning is bad. Cloning is cloning. It's bad. It's stealing designs. No matter how big the company is, it's still stealing that design. So, and he does, that's why I want to bring this up. He does say in the comments, Squid does revisions and does put so much into making the best product possible, and he didn't mean to discredit that at all. He just wanted to emphasize not to support super unique clones. So I guess, I don't, the exception being, no, there is no exception. Cloning is cloning. Cloning is bad. And I'm saying the practice of cloning is bad. Buying a clone, that's up to you on whatever you want to do. The practice of cloning is bad. It is stealing. What's up, Ty? Welcome. I'm going through your clarification down here. So basically what he was saying, he was emphasizing the fact that you shouldn't clone the unique Balisongs, but he did not mean to discredit companies like Squid or Glider in that. He was just putting emphasis, like he says in chat. I don't support any cloning. I just meant to emphasize on smaller manufacturers. So I just wanted to highlight that, because in the video, Ty, feel free to disagree with me. In the video, it was a bit, it sounded just a bit like you were saying, smaller creators, that's what matters. Squid doesn't matter, like all that. BRS is fined to buy no, it's not. The practice of cloning is not good, no matter what you say. Like, even I don't care if the company is bad or if people don't like the company. It's still theft. Stealing against a, like, millionaire in the eyes of the law is still theft. It's still bad. Some people are going to say that it's morally correct, like Robin Hood shit, but it's still bad. Heard this video like 3 times. First, I'd clarified not to clone even the biggest manufacturers, but I eventually just forgot to clarify. You're right, though. I should have clarified that more. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because you did clarify down here. That's what you meant, but in the video, it just didn't come across. Also, Luke Flips. Yeah, no, they definitely do make live blades. It takes 45 billion to go across the USA. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, having said all that, there is one specific exception, not to the rule, because it is still bad. I think he gets into it here. Let's keep going.
Hey, hit print, give me 5,000 of these and return them by Monday. That's just kind of spitting in the face of those who work their lives away to give us something to flip.
Yep.
Enough people do that, the hobby's going to shrink. We're going to lose flippers.
Just joined randomly. We are going over clones. I am doing a sort of response of sorts to Ty's thought on Balisong clones. Go subscribe to his channel. Go watch this video. Great video. I'm just throwing my 2 cents into the ring.
And this is not give us something fresh and something new. So please, has the money and you're deeply invested in the Balisong flipping.
Okay. I'm not going to be able to find it, but the final point that I think he made some point in this video is cloning Balisongs that aren't in production anymore. Because I think this is the one exception to the rule where I get kind of gray. I think it's still bad. It's still intellectual property theft. But it's a bit more justified to buy them. Like, I personally, if Squid ever just said, hey, the Nautilus, we're not making it anymore. You can't buy it. No more. We're done. We don't want to make it anymore. Then my goal is to go across the world one Balisong in the time. I wish you luck. If Squid just said we're getting rid of the Nautilus, then it becomes a little more gray, because yes, it is still theft, but making that design accessible to future generations, so to speak, is important, and making sure that that design is still out there is important. I think Will mentions this in his clone video. The Benchmade 42, I think, is no longer in production, so the only way to get one is to buy a clone. Sure, stealing that design is still bad, but you can justify buying it a lot more than you can, say, justify buying a clone of something like a Glider Arctic or an NRB Vortex or something like that.
Hobby. Understand that those people put in work to give us a Ben.
And basically, just to recap, he goes on, it's like emulating old games to me. It's kind of lame. It's just what you have to do if you want to enjoy it. Yep. Can I mod? Yes, I can. So basically, it's a great video. You should go watch it. Basically, to sum it all up, my personal thoughts on cloning. Cloning is bad. The practice of cloning is bad. It's stealing. But you shouldn't shame someone for buying a clone. Don't gatekeep buying clones. Someone can't afford a real knife and they want to get a clone, that's fine. The practice of cloning at the company level is what people have a problem with. And me personally, as to quote Will, as someone who makes original content, well, sometimes original content, I can't support the stealing of someone else's, the stealing and sale of someone else's original content. It hurts the bottom line of Balisong manufacturers. It hurts the community in general. And it just creates a bad mindset for these overseas companies who are like, oh, they're selling it, or they're buying it, let's make more. If we don't buy clones, maybe they start making original designs. Maybe they start making more Falcons, more aliens, all of that. So, sum up. Cloning is bad. Buying clones is not bad. I don't support clones. I bought a clone before I understood them. I wish I never did. I don't support them. I will never buy one in the future. And I think these cloning companies should move. I think there's better alternatives that you can turn to if you don't have money. Such as like a Squiddy or a Falcon. So that's pretty much that.